Listen, we've had some great players at Arsenal Football Club. None more great than this man right here, Thierry Henry. What a great player he was. And that's why he's got a statue here at Arsenal Football Club. However, we've had some terrible players here also. In this video, I thought what I'd do, let's take a look at what I think were the 10 worst players ever to play for Arsenal Football Club. At number 10, André Santos. Brought in 2011 from Brazil. We all thought, who's this guy? Brazilian. He's going to be a great player. Then we started seeing him playing. Going forward, he wasn't a bad player. I remember that goal he scored at Chelsea, although that was deflected, but it was an important goal at the time. But going forward, a really good player. But defensively, and that was his position, remember, as a left back, he was appalling. The amount of times he'd get caught halfway up the pitch and then he never had the speed to recover, he was just simply atrocious as a defender. Likeable guy, but André Santos, terrible defender at number 10. At number 9 was Jensen. He was truly appalling. I think he went 138 games, right, before he scored for Arsenal. Everybody used to wonder, how's this guy at the club? I mean, it actually turned out in the end, there was a little rumour going around that it was something to do with an agent that George Graham had something to do with that had given a backhander. Why he even got in Arsenal in the first place. I remember he did eventually get a goal and everybody was just taking a mick when he did score it. I remember any time he was like bearing down or on goal, or even if he caught the ball, even in defence, all the Arsenal fans would be shouting out, shoot, shoot, shoot. He was that bad. Jensen. If you haven't seen his solitary goal for Arsenal, Google it. Jensen. Terrible. Number 9. At number 8, Gus Caesar. Defender for Arsenal again. Seems to be a pattern here that the defenders seem to be getting a lot in these rankings, but Gus Caesar tried his best, was at Arsenal for a long time, came up through the ranks, but just wasn't good enough, unfortunately. Had a cool name. That was about it. But as a player, very average. I'm not going to say he was rubbish. He wasn't. But was very average. If you speak to a lot of the old school fans, like myself, they'll remind you of the League Cup final. I think it was in 1988. Gus Caesar hoofs away his clearance. Luton go through and score, and we get beaten by Luton Town in the final. That was your work, Gus Caesar. Gus Caesar, number 8. At number 7, Junichi Inamoto. We signed him, and to be fair, when we signed him, Japanese player, there was like, a lot of fans saying that, have we just bought him because we're trying to burst into the Asian market, or is this guy a good player? And to be fair, he came as a hot prospect from Japan. But he came to Arsenal, he made zero impact. He just looked lightweight, he weren't good enough, tried his best, but nah, poor. In the end, we ended up shipping him out, I think, to Fulham. Inamoto, poor. At number 6, Amaury Bischoff. Remember him? No, you probably don't remember him, because he hardly ever played for Arsenal. Weird when we bought him, because he had this long history of injuries. There were reports that he was a quality player, but he came to Arsenal, didn't get in the first team, made a couple of little substitute appearances, and then within a year, he was gone. Weird. Amaury Bischoff. At number 5, another defender. Looks like Arsene Wenger's not always the best at buying defenders, and he's bought Pascal Sagan, who I was going to include in this, but I've given him a pass because I've gone for Sebastian Scalacci. Oh, remember him? He was there for about 3 years as well. Simply useless. I remember any time an opposition team got like a corner and he was standing there, you knew that they were going to score. They'd just rise above him, boom, header it in the goal, bounce him out of the way. I mean, he was so lightweight, and he wasn't even a small guy. He was a decent enough size, but no positional sense, no footballing skill, wasn't a hard man, wasn't good at headering it. Kick, what was he good at? Sebastian Scalacci. poor. At number 4, I've got to throw a goalkeeper in there. And we've had a few poor ones over the years, and it's so great to have a keeper like Petr Cech now in goal. And that's when you realise about poor keepers. But Manuel Almunia, rubbish as far as I'm concerned. I remember in the Champions League final, being there at the game, he gets beaten on his near post by Samuel Eto'o. For me, top class keeper. If Cech would have been a goal, he would have saved that. We might have won the Champions League. He's just simply appalling. There was one game, I'm trying to remember it now, where nothing, you know, we was playing, everything was going well. He just comes sprinting out of his goal and just got lobbed. He used to do that all the time. He always had at least 2 mistakes in him every single game. And what we couldn't understand is that Arsene Wenger still would always persist with him. Simply appalling goalkeeper, Manuel Almunia. Thank God for Petr Cech. At number 3, another defender, Igor Stefanos. As I said, I was thinking Sagan and that, but Stefanos was even worse than Sagan, worse than Scalacci, worse than Santos. He was just, I can't, sorry, I'm trying to be nice to our ex-players here, but I can't. He was rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. Anytime you saw him in the team, you were just like this. You were a nervous wreck. Ah. I'm getting cold sweats now, even thinking about him. Igor Stefanos, what did you do? Rubbish. Number 2, probably the most mysterious signing of all time. Thierry, can you tell me why Arsene Wenger signed Park Chu-young? I mean, I'm still trying to work it out. He hardly ever played. I think he scored, I remember him scoring 1 goal where he sort of curled it in. That was a great goal. But apart from that, what did he do? Why did we buy this guy? Was it just to burst into the Asian market? Was Park Chu-young's relatives a friend of Arsene Wenger? Or maybe somebody at the club? Thierry, you got to tell me, man, because I still can't work it out. The guy, I mean, he never had a chance at the club. He never got to hardly play any games. He was always on the bench. I just can't figure it out. Park Chu-young, please, somebody, leave it in the comments below and tell me why Arsenal signed him in the first place. Number 1 has got to be Francis Jeffers, and Thierry Henry, you remember him. Signed as our answer as a striker. He was, we were being told at the time that Arsenal lacked a player that is what we call a fox in the box. The sort of player that will be, you know, there in that 6-yard area and just do the little tap-ins and that. We never had that player. We always had lots of flair players and that could score goals, but we didn't have that fox in the box. We needed that fox in the box. So what did we do? We went to Everton and we signed a fox in the box. Apart from, he was just a fox. He was never, well, he was in the box, but he just never scored a goal. He was just poor. And the reason why I say this was the worst signing is because he came so highly rated. And when we signed him, we were so excited because we were like, yeah, this guy is going to be the answer to our goal scoring problems. He will be the fox in the box. And sorry, Franny, poor. You were poor. You just weren't good enough for Arsenal. So there you go. That's my 10 worst players that have ever played for Arsenal. I know there's loads more, right? Leave your 10 in the comments below. You know what we're going to do for this? We're even going to give away a t-shirt to the person who comes up with a better 10 than what I just came up with. Thank God for Thierry Henry.
Subscribe to Arsenal Fan TV.
And we're all Gooners here. And in this video, I'm going to take a look at 10 famous Gooners. I mean, I know other clubs have got famous fans. I mean, Watford have got like Elton John, but hey, we got loads of famous people that follow Arsenal.